We're going to get that Telnet lab started now, and I'm on router 2, as you can see, and we're just going to use this 172.12.13.0/24 subnet, Ethernet subnet connecting routers 2 and 3. And just to make sure that we have our connectivity, I'll ping over there and we're good to go. So I haven't done anything with the Telnet configuration yet at all because I want you to see this all from scratch. So we're on router 2. What should I expect if I try to Telnet to router 3 right now? Do you think the router will actually tell me, what's going on, or password's not there, or whatever? Think it'll just die out? Surprisingly enough, the router is going to say password required but none set. And I guess they figure, well, it's safe to do that because you can't get into that router anyway to even set a password. So password required but none set. Doesn't tell you which password is required, but we're CCNAs, soon to be NA security certified, and we know that we've got to put a password on the VTY lines. So we'll do a conf T and a line VTY04. And I want you to see this because this really throws panic into people the first time they see it. If you haven't seen it, I wanted you to see it here. A lot of people will look at this and just see the login disable part and say, oh, I broke the router. You didn't break the router. Notice it says until password is set. So basically it's saying we're not going to let you log in until you have set a password. So I'll just set a password for CCNA here in uppercase. And now we'll go over while that's saving over to router 2. So I'll just go ahead and repeat the telnet. And now it's saying user access verification. It's asking for a password. What's going to appear here when I type CCNA in uppercase? What will appear? Nothing. And I did it incorrectly one time and correctly the next time. You'll notice that it didn't say, hey, you mistyped that, or anything. It didn't give me any hint. It just dropped right back to another password prompt. Then when I entered it correctly, it put me into user exec mode. Let me get rid of enable there. And that's it. So there are no hints or anything like that. And also it's not going to show you what you're typing. That, of course, is a little bit of defense against the old over-the-shoulder network attack. So here then, let's go ahead and type enable. And this is where you go, don't! Yes, this is what catches you because it's easy to remember to do the VTY password, especially if you're in a hurry, walking out, etc. It's like, yeah, let me configure that for Telnet so I can hit it tonight. And then you type this and you enter the VTY line password, you write enable, and you can't get in because no password has been set. So you are actually on router 3, you just really can't do anything. So let me get out of that by typing exit. And you'll see a little message about it being closed. Now let's go over to router 3. And I have two options here. Good to know both of these options. I could just enter an enable password. That's no problem at all. And actually, let's go ahead and do that. So we'll try the Telnet again. And it's asking me for that password, and now I type enable, and now you'll notice it doesn't say enter the VTY password or the enable password or the enable secret or the aux or the secret squirrel password, none of that. It just says password. So after entering 2 passwords, I am now in. So that's a pretty good deal, but what I could do instead, I'm going to take that password off here. What I could do instead is assign privilege level 15 to the VTY line users. Now again, it's something you have to be cautious about because anyone who knows your Telnet password and is automatically assigned that is going to be able to do pretty much whatever they want to with that router. So it's something to consider. But we'll do line VTY04. Sometimes the hardest part of that is spelling privilege correctly. And there's the default privilege for line, or in this case line, since we use 0 and then 4, so we get the whole range. And we'll put 15 in. Now when I go over to Telnet, it asks me for that first password, and now notice I am put into enable mode immediately. So I don't have to enter it. There doesn't have to be an enable password. But again, just be cautious with how you use that privilege level 15 command. I'm going to use a username password command in the next lab as well, and you'll see it in other parts of the course. But just a quick reminder, let's say that you wanted to assign privilege level 15 only to the person who's going to telnet into router 2 here with the username of Chris and the password of Richmond. That would be the regular generic command. And notice you don't see anything here when you use iOS help. There's nothing here that talks about a privilege level. The privilege level has to go in the middle of this command, as do a couple of other ones. But the one we're looking for here is privilege, and then it's 0 through 15 again, and then you could put the password and the rest of that command. So that's what it would look like if we're setting up router 2 and we wanted a user telnetting to router 2 who enters the username Chris and the password Richmond to be given privilege level 15. And then you could set up other users who would not be given that privilege level. Just for an example, just give me a name here. Username Dr. Password Pepper. And then we'd have to go to the VTY lines. And you don't put a password if you're using the local database. What you would put here instead is login followed by local. And that would be your configuration for that. So when you're using that, then whoever came in as with my username and password, username Chris, password Richmond, would be given privilege level 15, and then username Dr. password Pepper would not be. Actually, let's go ahead and do that on the other router. We're here. Let's see. Actually, we can just telnet from here. Let's telnet to router 2 where I just wrote that. Okay, so it's asking for a username, and it does show the username. Then it's going to ask for a password. And notice that I was put into enable mode immediately because I was given privilege level 15 in this command. But now when I log in as Dr. Pepper, let's do that. Notice that I am not given privilege level 15, and since I don't have an enable password, I couldn't get anywhere. So a little extra bonus lab there at the end. Thanks for hanging in there when I called an audible. But that's really a good thing for you to see. So now you know how to put the privilege level 15 on the VTY lines, which you were probably familiar with. But you just got to watch this. The privilege level, if you put it in the username password command, actually goes in the middle. So that is really it for our Telnet lab for right now. We'll go to the next video. We'll do a little bit of work with SSH and then move on from there.